Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Watcher of Realms video. Welcome. If you're enjoying my content so far, feel free to smack that subscribe button. Help me hit the 10k. That's where we're going. Look, today we're going to be talking about how do we take our heroes to that next level? How do we get maximum power, maximum, efficiency, and do it quick? So let's go through the main ways that you can really push your account up. There's a lot of people that have started playing over the last couple of months. And there's actually a lot of people that have been watching my videos so far. And they're like, hold on a minute. I'm about the same day as you, but I don't seem to be able to do the content you're doing. And yeah, look, the elephant in the room, I did drop a couple of $100 in the first week. Yeah, so it got me some extra summons on the board. Outside of that, though, I've not spent since. I've just been able to push my resources to the max. So let's go through and talk about what's the different areas that you should focus on. And we'll take like a fresh hero, a level 1, and kind of like say, right, if I'm starting out today, what am I doing? So the first thing you want to do clearly is put some levels into your heroes. Yeah. So as you level up your heroes, they gain more base stats, and that's going to really help them out. This is the absolute first priority, is just to get some decent levels on your heroes and kind of decide out of your hero groups who's going to be like the priority. You do need a bit of a mixture. So you want ideally a fighter, a healer, and DPS. And DPS in terms of on the board. So magic damage and marksman damage. Yeah, so you want a nice kind of breadth of those. But when you're considering like, who do I 6-star first? Where am I going to get my biggest bang for my buck? It's really your DPS heroes that are going to be the first choices for 6-star. So ranged mages like Karma here was big for me. Fighters like Freebie Wrath would be a brilliant one to take as an early 6-star. Ranged marksman, for me it's Setram, but it could be a whole bunch of heroes for you. Yeah, you just want to kind of like hand-pick those heroes that are really going to make a massive difference to your account, and they're the ones that you push first. Other heroes, like support-based ones, like healers, champions like tanks, they really can do a good job for you at level 50 for a while. So you don't need to push those as hard as quick. So as I say, first thing you want to do is get levels into those heroes. Try and get them to level 50 as soon as you can. And then try and get yourself a bit of a breadth of 6-star heroes. The next thing you actually want to focus on is promotions. So promotions give you a lot of base stats. If we take a base level hero here, if we look at the promotions, you start to just get a lot of base stats right the way through the promotion levels. You also, on most heroes, unlock other stuff. So maybe we get things like passives kicking in. There's actually not a lot on this hero in particular. On some of them, they're getting like passive. Quite a few of them gain more range for their abilities. Yeah, and again, a lot of base stats. So you get a lot of extra power through promoting, and it's simple to do. Yeah, doing the early level promotion stuff, at least to level 4, super simple, super easy to do in the promotion raids. So pretty much what you want to be doing is just focusing on your level. And I'll be honest, like, I'm playing now 23 days. Like pretty much all of the promotion raids, I could cap out if I wanted to. I'd get to the point where I need to, but I could cap them out very easy now. But even like early on, you get to the point where you can get the legendary promotion stuff very early on. And if you're only promoting to like stage 4, you can get those things through stage 6 in the promotion raids. So it's a really good return for your efforts to promote. I guess one thing I didn't cover off, which I should, if you are looking to upscale your champions, your heroes in levels, firstly, when you get to a certain stage in the campaign, you get this quick star up button, which is beautiful. I've been using it a lot today. You can see actually I've got barely any food. But you can just go and farm yourself some experience pots. You want to do that from the campaign. So I'm actually doing it at the moment still from campaign normal. Ideally, you don't want to start farming this area until you hit chapter 7. And then the preference is actually chapter 8. And you never want to farm unless you've got an experience bonus running. Okay, so you can obtain this through the shop for diamonds, which is not the best way. The best way is actually to just grab it from the arena shop with your arena tokens. So yeah, definitely want to be doing that before you go and get those experience pots ground out. So leveling out heroes, promoting heroes. The next thing you want to be focused on is gear. Okay, and actually gear comes quite late down the road, because in the early game, you just pick up nice kind of like rare and epic gear from the shop. You just pick it up and make sure that people have got gear on. And you don't really want to take it past level 8 in the early game because you're just going to get rid of that stuff. But once you start to get yourself in a position where you can farm gear raids at a mythical level, and I've put videos out for these different gear raids recently. So I've now got myself 20 odd days in. I got myself through to the point where I could farm some mythical gear. I put in about 3 days of energy, a day in each of the raids basically, and did like a full farm up of gear, right? So before that point, I was using the dwarf shop and just general stuff that I gained through, completing storyline quests and completing events and stuff like that. Basically, I was just using what I had. But then I got to the point where it's like, now I'm going to treat gear seriously. And this is the next big power up for your heroes. And this is quite different from other games that I've played because gear selection, certainly in the kind of early to mid game, is quite similar for most heroes. So anyone who's doing damage, so I've got a marksman here, I've got a mage, I've got fighters, anyone who's out there basically to pump damage, you want to be focusing the jewelry slots early game on attack percent bonus. And that's the main focus. So attack percent is king. And then once you get to the point where you're basically doubling with your green number, your base, then you start focusing on some crit rate, some crit damage. Some heroes benefit from another 100 or so attack speed. That's going to be quite nice. But that's your main thing, is attack percent first, then grab yourself some crit rate, and then if you're lucky enough, you get some crit damage as well. So if I look at someone who's actually did pretty well for me, I'm probably a bit under where I need to be on attack, but he's only a 5-star dude. I've got some crit rate in, I've got some crit damage, and I've got some attack speed on my Wrath. And this is the type of feel that you get for most heroes, honestly, that do damage. Attack, some crit rate, some crit damage, some attack speed. Similar. You'll see it basically same in all of my offensive builds. They're all glass cannons. Nobody here has had a focus on HP, defense, or really anything else. So that's how you start to punch some numbers on your damage. In terms of healers, there's different healers actually. So healers scale in different ways, and you can see that through their skills. So this one, Vortex here, is an HP based healer. So the more health he's got, the bigger the heals pop. But also you get some benefit from healing effects, and you get some benefit from attack speed. So those are the 3 stats that I'd be punching on a Vortex to try and get him in a good spot. So again, the jewelry items, we're looking at HP bonus. And then if I can get any of those other things, great, I will. And if I can get a set that actually does that in a nice way, I will. But it's not the primary thing for me right now. Primary thing is stats. And then in terms of the kind of main pieces, again, same sort of thing. If I can get it in a set that makes some sense, I will. But I'm mainly looking for the stats to make that happen. There's other types of healers. So I guess the one that most people will get hold of early on is Lightlock, where he actually has got scaling from attack on his heal. He's an attack-based healer. And in that instance, like, he's not going to have the same tankiness that the other healers do. But if you want chunky heals, you pretty much still want to get some of the healing effect in his build. You obviously want to push a bit of attack, but I would say still attack speed and still a bit of health, because healers generally you want to survive through damage, and you want him healing other people rather than healing himself. When it comes to tanks, your stats kind of change up a bit. Depends who you've got, honestly, but still feels like for most tanks that I'm seeing here, HP is king rather than defense is king. So even though Baron, or I don't know if he does scale through defense actually, some of them literally say they'll scale damage through defense. But you notice I've still pushed for a high amount of health on my tank, some defense, and then some attack speed. Also, because tanks are taking damage, if they've got an ultimate ability which is really nice to pop off, then some rage regen will get you to your ult quicker. So again, that's quite a nice stat if you can build it in some way. But that's the luxury. The main thing is give them enough health and defense so that the healers can keep them alive. So we've got levels, we've got promotions, we've then got some gearing. Now you start coming into, I guess, some of the harder things to pick up, but this is where it starts to get some kind of like crazy gains. If we think about a Dolores here, the next thing for me was to focus on artifacts. Artifacts are another way to boost stats, and you get different artifacts available per hero. Or no, sorry, you can select whatever artifact you want on heroes, but you want to make sure you're bringing one that's going to give value to that champion. So a Dolores, for example, you just want to pump attack as much as possible. So you want to try and get an artifact which is punching on that boost. Yeah, versus a kind of healer. I've got an artifact on here. So on this healer in particular, Vortex, I don't have one which I felt was that good. So I do have a new one here. When HP is at maximum, increases healing effect by 30. It's not bad, but at the moment I use them in Guild Boss where I always take hits, so it's not going to be that useful for that. But basically all I've done is I've tried to make sure that I've got some form of stat boost that's going to help my hero with the artifact. And for Vortex here, more health means more healing. So that's why I've gone with this one as a short-term thing. But yeah, basically artifacts just give you another stat boost on top of everything else you're doing. Now, obviously, skill ups is important, but you have to be very selective over this. And what I would say is, for most heroes, I guess it depends what they're doing, but for most heroes, it's like all of the skill ups are random. Yeah, so if I land enough skill ups in a legendary to max out an ult, like I have here with Setram, although I've still gained more damage and stuff, I'm not going to be wasting my legendary skill ups on Setram at this moment in time. I've already filled the ultimate, which is his main thing. Yeah, versus some other heroes where actually skill ups in like their main skills, like this vulnerability here, might be what you'd prefer to get. So depends on heroes, obviously, but skill ups do add a lot of value in some like situations. Someone like a Dolores, it's a no-brainer because you're getting additional bonus rage, you're getting additional reduction of trigger time, and for the ultimate, it's like it just means you're going to get your ultimate much quicker and the effect is more effective. So for some heroes, it's like absolutely must book or should book as soon as you can. And for some heroes, it's really just to kind of read through their skills and make decisions. Another one here, Wrath. Brilliant with skill ups, like really worthwhile. So you will get a lot of bang for your buck, but it's random and you don't just want to throw them into any hero you get. Make sure you use them, especially with epics and legendaries, on champions that you're going to be using through to the end game. So the last way to really gain some stats and some power is through Awakening. This is much harder because you need dupe copies of the heroes to make this happen. Once you've got through full Awakening, and if you've still got dupes after that, you can actually sell the units. You get a currency which you can then go and sell use in a shop. So you see here, someone like Wrath, you actually get given an Awakening 5 at day 45 as part of the login bonus. That's why I'm not awakening him any further. But you basically get enhancement of some of your skills. You get stat boosts. So Awakenings towards the late game becomes like the next level of power. Obviously, it's unlikely you're going to be pulling dupe legendaries anytime soon if you're new to the game. But actually, dupe epics do come fairly frequently. Like if I think about Lightlock here, I just picked up, so I've got 2 more copies of him already. And that's when you start to think, well, hold on a minute. Is it now worth using this unit over a different one because I've managed to awaken him further? Like you start to get some real nice boosts to some of the stats as you go further down the tree. Another one here. In fact, no, this is a good call out because some of them, it's like a certain Awakening, it's really valuable. Good hero for that is Dolores. Like at Awakening 1, you get a really good boost. After that, I mean, yeah, it's nice, but it's not as crazy, honestly. But after Awakening 1, I'm kind of cool. I don't really feel like I need any more here unless I just get lucky and pull dupes. I wouldn't use the Soul Stones on her. So again, it's worth just checking down the Awakening bonuses and seeing what sort of additional value you're going to get for those heroes. But that will basically cover how to get your hero from 0 to an absolute monster in a relatively short period of time. Levels, promotions, then you go gear, and then you start making decisions around artifacts, skills, and then awakenings. And if you do all of that, you will punch your way through this game in no time, and you will find your progression just soars. One last call out for me. I spent about an hour re-gearing heroes after I'd done those 3 days of gear raid farms. And I went from Nightmare 1 to Nightmare 3 on Clan Boss just because I put a bit of time in. So it's one of those games, like, the more you pay attention to your builds, the better you will do. And it's cool because it doesn't even cost you to move gear around. But anyway, there you go, guys. I've been Hell Hades. Hope that's useful. I'll see you soon.